You're listening to 8158 Stories of Sacrifice, where we honor the bravery of the first responders and the families who stand behind them. Real people, real stories, real heroes. This is 8158. Welcome back to another episode of 8158 Podcast, Stories of Sacrifice. This is your host, Rico. Today's guest, we have DJ Jabba. DJ Jabba is a DJ on the Thin Line Rock Station. Obviously, those of you who follow the podcast know that I am also on the Thin Line Rock Station. So let's welcome DJ Jabba.
Thank you. My privilege.
You're very welcome, my friend. So let's tell everybody how we got together here.
Well, like I said, you got on the station, and I like reaching out to people. I like to have a team atmosphere and know people. And so I reached out to you, and we started talking, and you invited me to do this show.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. We know that you do 5 days a week in the mornings from, what is it,
6 to 8.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time. So people in California probably don't really listen to me.
Yeah, they're still sleeping.
And I don't blame them. That's awful early.
Right. Yeah, it's 3 hours time difference. Fortunately, my schedule was able to be changed, and I got the slot to follow you on Tuesday and Thursday.
That's awesome. I can't wait for it.
But that'll be from 8 a.m. till noon.
Yeah, you are doing 4 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, that's also pretty good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Twice a week. So that's a chunk of time.
Yes, it is.
So, and then Brianne, she's going to follow you Monday morning.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of her show this Monday, and it was pretty good.
Yeah,
people should listen to it.
Yeah. So it's going to be great starting next week.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was looking at the email they sent me, and it was just jam packed. So, I think we're doing big things. I think we're going in the right direction. I would love to see this station take off like a top rated radio station.
Yeah.
And I know you got to put your dues in, pay your time in, but we're doing that. And with these new DJs and everybody, and they're from coast to coast. Some guys I was listening to is from San Diego and in California, and then here I am up here in the mountains, and
right.
You were in Central Kentucky, and so it's just like I said, and it's just those perspectives. You'll give me your perspective about how you live in your area, and those guys out in California will tell me how they live. So I think that's interesting.
Right.
About where, just not that you can tell me you're from here, but that you're from there.
Right.
And put your stamp on it.
Right. And I could totally relate to the guys in California because that's where I was born. I was born in Oakland. And,
Raiders.
Yeah. I'm a Niners fan.
I'm sorry. No, how can I actually say that being a Raiders fan? For 27 years, it's next year. You just wait till next year.
I'm just disappointed that the Raiders left again.
Well, I mean, everybody left. Ain't nobody left in Oakland.
Yeah. The one that hit me the most was the Athletics because that was my baseball team. I grew up watching the A's, and I remember as a kid going to the stadiums and watching the games. And when I was in the Boy Scouts, we were on the field as color guard when they did the national anthem.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was just amazing, a lot of memories.
Yeah. And I can relate with some stuff, when we get our age, things get taken away from us. That's just the fact. And it's just not us, it's everybody. You know, and as you go up, I mean, I was telling my wife the other day, you know, how much stuff we had when I was a kid or growing up is now just gone. The people we had are gone. The traditions we had are gone. And that's what's heartbreaking to me.
Yeah. The things we grew up with are non-existent anymore.
Absolutely.
We just got to grow and adapt to our current surroundings.
You can't stand still. You have to move with progress.
Yes.
You know, and that's like, you know, we'll get into it a little bit, but, you know, with coaching, it was getting past me.
Yeah.
You know, I could tell. And trying to defend these new stuff, I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I would have to call people and go, hey, how do you stop this zone read stuff? And how do you know, but, you know, it worked out and we always got it done. But yeah, you got to move with the flow, man, or are you going to drown?
Yeah, you get left behind. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So let's get into some background with you. So you grew up in West Virginia, but now you call Eastern Kentucky your home. What's the small town life like?
Well, first off, I'm a West Virginia living in Kentucky.
Okay,
let's get it. Where I grew up at, it was this small town called Williamson. It was at one time a really thriving town because of coal. Right. You know, the 70s and the 80s. You know, it was just, we had retail stores, restaurants. We had the whole thing. Now living, you know, just 10 minutes from where I grew up in a place called Huddy. It's actually around Belfry, but it's the same atmosphere. It's all the same. We all grew up in this area and we just consider it one place.
Yeah. So what was that small town life like, and how did that community shape who you are?
Well, it was the best thing I can say is it was love and family growing up around here. You could go down the street and knock on the door and get a glass of water, or you could get it from the hose. Everybody knew you, and literally you was raised by a group of people, including family. You know, it was just, the environment was, I'm going to say, protective. You didn't have to worry about stuff. I didn't know I had a house key till I was 18 years old. You know, we never locked the doors. We never done it because it didn't happen.
Right.
And then it started creeping in. And, you know, in my 20s, living in Williamson, after I came back home from school, you could just see it. You know, the street above me, all those houses turned into crack houses.
Mm.
You know, and that's the evolution where it's at today. But to answer your question, it was just love and community, and it was special. And I listened to other people talk about their town and growing up, and it's like nonchalant. You know, I did this and we lived. But when people around here talk about it, they say it with a punch. You know, because we have traditions and things that most people don't have. Mm. And the biggest thing that we had was Mama's cooking. You know, you couldn't bottle that. That was when you walked in that house and said, I'm hungry. And the next thing you know, you have a full breakfast spread on the table, you know. And if I had a friend, you didn't have to ask if they could come in. You didn't ask if they wanted to eat. You sat down, you ate, you know. So it was just a special place at that time.
Right. Good old Southern hospitality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Appalachian, you know, it's a little bit different from being in the South, but it's still the same thing. I was talking about on my show the other morning, you know, words that we use that people probably don't understand, like yonder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a measurement of space. Yeah. Or fixing.
Yeah.
I'm fixing to go work, you know, or britches.
Yeah, your pants.
And the one that will get you in trouble more than all of them, it was a buggy, a bass cart. They call it a bass cart, but it's a buggy.
Yeah,
that's what we call it, and people will fight you over that.
Yeah, different words and phrases for different parts of the country.
Absolutely. Everybody has their own tradition, but here, of course, I'm prejudiced about it, but it's just special.
Right. Yeah. I had myself the opportunity to see lots of different parts of the country. I was born in California, but I lived in Montana for like 20 years. And
you just made me cold saying that.
It wasn't that bad. I got adjusted pretty good.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah. I mean, so when I go to work here and I go to work, everybody, like now, they're all in their gear that's their face is covered and their hands, they got gloves on. Me, I just got a long sleeve shirt and a vest on, my cowboy hat on.
I can see it. I can see that very well.
Looking at me weird. Yeah, but I lived in Ohio too. I lived in Michigan for like 6 or 7 months, and then hold on a second. One moment.
Take your time.
My damn massage chair is going off again. It's pretty fancy.
Well, yeah. I'm glad you have one. I'd love to have a good one, but
yeah, that was a special gift. Special gift from my wife.
Oh, excellent.
And she got that for me for Christmas last year. And I told her I was going to get one way or another. And she decided to get me one. And I told her dad, I was like, we're going to get you one. It's like, we're going to get you one too. And then next thing you know, because her mom was like, no, don't encourage him. And then she ended up buying him one.
That's right there how it goes.
So that's pretty awesome. All right. So you started working at the age of 14 at a pool as a lifeguard. Then you were head lifeguard. And do you have any funny stories from those days, like Baywatch moments or anything like that?
I got a lot of stories I can't say. But yeah, it seems like when I was, thinking about that, and again, there's a million. But I remember one particular day, wasn't anything, bad going on. And I saw this kid on the corner of the pool, and he was struggling. He couldn't quite get to the top. And the other people that was around that saw it happen said that needed to be recorded because it's the smoothest thing I ever seen. I was walking, I had a pop in my hand. I just stretched around, grabbed that kid by the hair, set him on the concrete, and kept on walking. Yeah, and it was not the difference. Then one time, again, I wish we had this stuff on film. I was working the baby pool, and we're sitting in 6-foot chairs, and we was taught how to shallow dive and stuff like that. And every time I ever tried to shallow dive, I killed myself.
Mm.
It didn't quite work out. But we was watching everything, and all of a sudden, I hear this little girl holler up at me, and she goes, and she just pointed down. And I looked and I said, is that a baby doll? Is that a baby doll? Bubbles. Yeah, it's not a baby doll. So I jumped off that chair and shallow dived. And as I was going under, I grabbed that baby, turned it around. We gave it a couple rescue breaths. She come back around. Everything was fine. My thing was, I was like, did anybody see that dive? Nobody saw that dive. And they said, do it again. And I tried it again, and I killed myself.
Jeez.
So, all I can say, that was the hand of God turning me down and getting it out of that water perfect. Because everything worked out. But, I mean, there's a swimming pool stories are just, there are a million of them. But, yeah, I mean, it's just, you have incidents on a diving board, or I remember I really embarrassed this couple one time. They was over in what we called the shady end of the pool, and they was doing some shady stuff, and I saw them. So I just took my time and I walked around there, and I got about 10 feet from them, and I started blowing my whistle, shouting at the top of my lungs, "Get out of the pool! Get out of the pool!" And that guy was like, I can't get out." I said, "Why not?" He said, "I just can't." He said, "You're just gonna have to give me a minute." I said, no, get up and let everybody see that. Get up. So it was, it was a ball. It was just a ball. And then after hour things that we did down there was just unmentionable.
I think that guy was already standing up.
Yeah, he was at attention by the time I got over. Absolutely. But I was, I don't know. I was just in one of them moves. I'm like, man, watch this. I'll show them. Because another guard pointed it out. He said, do I do? I said, no, don't do nothing. I said, I'll take this. And they was having some fun. And I was expecting to see crap in the pool after I done that.
All right. So moving on, you were a football player and later coach for 25 years. So what's one unforgettable moment from the field that makes you laugh or shake your head?
Well, we had this one kid, and he was worth the price of admission. If somebody could have got under him and kept him straight, he would probably played in the NFL. But I hollered at him. I said, come on, you got to come out. You got to come out. I lost my wallet, coach. I can't, hold on. I can't. I'll get you next play. I got to find my wallet. Then he played another play. And there was one time, it was like 17 seconds left, and the team just scored and went up by 4. And we all kind of, we knew that the writing was on the wall. And he come up and he patted me on the butt. He said, don't worry, coach, I got this one. I said, you're not even on the return team. I am now. I'm going to take care of this real quick. He run out on the field. Ball come to him. He just yelled, stop. Stop. And these kids stopped. Next thing you know, he was in the other side of the end zone. But lo and behold, he shouted out, stop. And these kids stopped. And he ran like a 4.40. He was one of the fastest kids I ever coached. And he just done some weaving and was gone. So I'm like, he come back sideline and hand me the football. He said, I told you not worry. I told you I had this. But he was a character. But there was so many kids I had. They all, I had so many funny kids. But I had some really, really good talented kids that if they was in another place, they would have got a fair shake to be looked at or something like that. But, I would send films in and not ever hear anything back from them because you're a little single A school. We don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just there's a million thoughts going through my head about that. But yeah. And my best moment was I coached at Williamson, and at that time we moved, me and the coach, we moved to another school down the way called Tug Valley, and we coached there 1 year. Well, the rival of our county was Mate One, and they're always good. They're always in the playoffs. They're always ranked number 1. So they was ranked number 1 again, and we went down there, and I changed the defense up on them. Everybody used to have us was running a 4-4. Well, as soon as that center put his ball down, I clapped my hands, and they slid back to a 3-5. That's what I played in college.
Mm-hmm.
And those linemen didn't know what to crap or get off the pot. They didn't know where to go. They didn't know who to block. And we ended up beating them 8-7.
Nice.
So that's one of my biggest football moments, coaching. So
for the audience, for our listeners, let's talk about how you got the name Jabba.
I always laugh at that. I was in seventh grade, and it was the summer before we went into junior high. In that area, you had K through 6, 7 through 9, and 10 through 12 was high school. So I was getting ready to enter into junior high. Well, in short, we had a pretty hard practice that day, and I just was walking across the field. I'm tired. So I just laid down right there in the middle of the football field. One of our coaches walked up and stepped over top of me and said, "Get your Jabba the Hutt looking ass in the locker room." Because I was laying on my side, and I said, I didn't think about it. But I had 2 friends that was right behind them, and they started saying Jabba, Jabba. So by that afternoon or that next practice, everybody on the team was calling me Jabba. and it stuck like white on rice on me. I thought I was going to get rid of it in college. Walked out the locker room door on the first day. Buddy of mine from Chapmanville saw me. He went, Jabba! And they said, Jabba? And there it was again. So I thought I was going to outrun it one time, but I didn't, so I just accepted it.
It just stuck with you.
It just stuck with me. And, they say the good nicknames you never name yourself. Right. I sure as heck wouldn't have named me that. But it fit. I liked it. People in this town, you go, hey, you know Joe Childers? No, not really. I said, how about Jabba? Yeah, I know Jabba. And I'm standing right there in front of him. Yeah, I bet you do. But, that was just the name I had.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
It was something about an area with crazy nicknames. I mean, just to throw a few out there that I had on my seniors, my group. I had a Hootie. I had a Fish. I had a Tank. I had a Huckabuck. A Chadwick. Coffee Leg. It's just, I don't know. I guess we're bored and we picked up crazy names for everybody.
Pretty interesting way to remember people.
It is. I mean, not to continue with it, but the mechanic where I worked at the ambulance station, that's the only way he would remember you. You walk in and you say, Joe, and he'd go, well, buddy walked biggest example, his name was Jeff. He walked in, Jeff, and he said, you look like Jeffrey Dahmer. So after that point, his name was Dahmer. So, I mean, it's just how they stick on the wall, man.
Right. Yeah, I can, relate to that. When I was working at the Menards Distribution Center in Ohio, in Holiday City, a buddy of mine, we called him Hitman because his last name was Hit. His name is Jeff Hitt. So his nickname was Hitman. And he dubbed me B-Train because I was pretty much the only guy on the yard that was capable of backing up a B-Train trailer, which is it's a multiple trailer that swivels in the center. Yeah. The big semis, I could back it up with no problems.
I'm familiar with it. Never drove one, but I'm familiar with them.
Yeah. So those aren't easy. And I pretty much taught myself how to back them up. And I always asked them to give them to me so I could learn how to do it. And,
well, that's the only way you do it. You got to step in the mud before you get it done. Listen to me. There's another little saying, but you got to fail to succeed.
Yep.
You got to fail to succeed. And anybody thinks that, I'm going to do it right on the first time, you're wrong. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. You might get lucky, but you still need to learn it. Learn whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah. So I got them all the time. And I was nicknamed B-Train after that.
See, that's a cool nickname. Hitman. Who would love to have that nickname?
Right.
But Jabba, it stuck on me.
Stuck on you. Yeah. Moving on now, you joined the fire department at the age of 16, which is pretty young. What made you jump into that field, and what was your call like, the very first call?
Well, my neighbor was the fire chief, and I'd known him my whole life. So he let me start hanging around about cleaning trucks and just doing things. I couldn't really do no runs until I was 18. But he let me sneak in on a dumpster fire, a little brush fire or something. He let me, you can go on this. But my first one, I was thinking about that today. If I remember right, the first call I had, I got to ride the tailgate as an official volunteer or part paid fireman. I got to ride the tailboard of the fire truck, and we was going down to a apartment in the west end of town for a cooking fire. Nothing to it. It was out before we got there. But riding that tailgate, let me tell you something. That's a skill. You got to keep your knees bent. You got to keep your arm locked around that pole that you're riding on. I had a buddy flop off one time right in the middle of the intersection. Nobody knew it because we was going, head out. We was gone. But he hit the interception. He flopped out. Man, he was mad.
Should be mad at himself.
But back then that was the standard. That was the normal. Right. Now they went past that, which is, again, it's a good safety thing, because there's a lot of times I was scared to death. Yeah. But I wasn't about to say that, or I wasn't about to show, I'll get up here in the cab. I'll get back here on the tailgate with me. Okay. Let's go. Just hope it's down around the corner or something,
Right.
But that tailgate was a norm back when I first got into it.
Right. Yeah, I can remember seeing that when I was a kid growing up, some of the firefighters riding on the backs of the trucks like that. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we didn't really have a whole lot of safety education back then.
Yeah, not like there is today.
No, absolutely. You get near a tailgate on a truck now, they'll fire you.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy how things have changed.
Yeah, like I said, we got to change with them. It's progression.
Yeah, progression.
For better or worse, it's progression.
Absolutely. You became an EMT 93 and a medic in 97. What were those early EMS days like before all the fancy gear and the Jeeps?
In the politest terms I can put it, was hell. The equipment, but we didn't know the equipment was bad equipment. We would get a stair chair, brand new, and it would just be one of them chairs with two handles on it, because that was what was out. And as we went along in it, especially in EMS, I saw a lot of changes. I mean, I went from Live Pack 10 to a Zoll 20 or whatever they're called now. But it's just, like I said before, it's just progression. People realized there's a better way to do something. They engineered it, designed it. Unfortunately, in areas like where we live in, that stuff's expensive. A good stair chair, I can run you up to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. A power cot and this whole setup could be $40,000 for one cot. The monitors are $60,000, $70,000. And I'm saying this is one. It's not like a box set or anything. You get one.
Just one, yeah.
Yeah, and the IVs got better. The whole swore by mask pants. You put mask trousers on everybody. And we brought one guy in the ER one night, and the doctor just went at it with scissors, and my partner tackled the doctor. He said, "You don't understand what these are, do you?" He said, he has a blood pressure because of these pants. Oh, okay, that could have been bad. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that was a big staple when I was first getting on, was mask pants. Right. Now you put a mask pants in a supply closet, you'll get fined. It's just, but the stuff, like backboards, they're getting away from backboards. CPR, you just pump. You don't even worry about breathing for them. And all that stuff is progression. And for better or for worse, some's been good, some's been bad. But they outpriced themselves. I mean, you can't tell me that a monitor table that goes over your cot is worth $1,000. No, it's just 3 pieces of steel hooked to hook onto the cot. And just because it's yellow and got a fun name on it, we can charge $1,000 for it.
Mm-mm. That's crazy. Things are getting expensive.
I mean, they're going to price. They're pricing a lot. At one time in Kentucky, they was talking about mandating like power cots and power stair chairs. People like where I worked at, the guy who owned their company went and said, "We can't do this. You're going to put us out of business, because if we have to buy this stuff, I'm going to have to lay 5 people off."
Right.
And again, you're talking about one. Now, there's companies that can buy this stuff all day long, 6 ways from Sunday. But they're county and city and funded by grants and all that stuff. But a lot of the local stuff, a lot of local guys that's privately owned, they just swimming. They're just barely swimming. And so I can understand that as far as a business sense of it, that, don't price me out of my business.
Right. Definitely. So let's talk about how you guys used to pull 72-hour shifts with only 4 days off. How did you survive that schedule?
Well, to be honest with you, I've never worked a 9 to 5. I've never got up, came home, got ready for the next day. So most of the people in my field did that. So we was kind of broke into it. But it's just a mental thing that, I know I'm going to be here for 3 days. Bring enough stuff, bring enough clothes to do what you got to do. And the call volume is not like a Chicago call volume. Those guys in 12 hours do more trauma and more major emergency than we'll see in a month. But but the call volume is still, because we do double duty. We did emergencies, plus we did the dialysis and the take homes and the transfers. We did all of that. But there's times, I'm not gonna lie, I was beating my head on the wall. Every time you lay down, you gotta get back up. But that was just not too many. It's sprinkled in there. A lot of times I got to sleep all night, most of the nights. But still, it's hard to be away from your family, birthday parties, whatever, Christmas, anything. Because if it fell on a Monday, Tuesday, or a Wednesday, it was out for me. You had to make your doctor appointments on Thursday and Friday. You had to do this on Thursday and Friday. But I was used to it. I guess that's the best answer. I was never, when I went to 72-hour shifts, it didn't really bother me too much. It was just another night I was staying here.
Now, we know that every medic has that one call that really sticks with them. What's one that you never forget, and what did it teach you about life?
Well, that one would be a good friend of mine. I didn't really realize this was her house. We got a call for a baby not breathing. She walks in the house and just hands me her son and goes, "Fix him, Joey, fix him." And, I done everything I could possibly do, but the kid didn't make it. And it's still hard for me to look at her in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, knowing I did everything I could do. This type of situation wasn't in my hands. It was in the good Lord's hands. And she never acted like she was mad about it. She talked to me the whole time after that, still does. But, when somebody that and you good friend, loved her to death, it just comes in and goes, "Fix it, Joey." Man, that day will never leave my head.
Yeah. I can imagine that's pretty hard.
Well, that's the thing about also being in a small town. You're going to work on your family. You're going to work on your friends. And sometimes it's not a good outcome, so every shift, I just put it in the Lord's hands. He gave me the talent to do what I do. And that's all I can do. I can innovate him. I can shock him. I can do whatever. But it's up to him to decide if this person lives or dies.
Yeah.
He gave me the skills to work on these people, just like he gave doctors and nurses and air flight mechanics and everybody. He gave you a skill. You give it to, you do it the best you can do. And that's how I got through a lot of bad stuff, was trusting in the Lord.
Yeah. He definitely had to keep you strong, because it is not easy having to deal with all of the compounding traumas that you see on a daily basis working in that field.
Yeah. And, as and most of the people that's been in this field knows, it hardens you. Yeah. I could have a DOA, and while I'm working on the paperwork, I'll be talking to my partner about what we're going to have for lunch. That's a special kind of darkness, but it's just part of it. to us, I have people come up to me all the time and go, I want to thank you for helping my dad. You really done a good job with him. You really saved his life. And I have to look at him and go, ma'am, I don't remember your call because your call was the 5th call that day.
Yeah.
To you, that was the most traumatic day you ever had. So it's a memory point for her, and it was just another run for me.
Right.
And I developed, as the years went on, once I turned that run sheet in, once I laid that in a tray, I kind of forgot about it.
Right.
Because if you hang on to that stuff, and if you took it home and you let it eat you, then it will eat you. Like I said before, there's some things that you just can't control. I wish I could. I wish I could make every patient I ever had 100% better, walk out of the ambulance. But you can't do that. Right. You can't do that. People die. And when I had young people with me and they're sitting there and they go, they're cold, man. Look, their arm is an ironing board. Well, can we just do CPR on them? No, dude. No, you have some respect for people. And, and like I said, I'm sure, you do, you have courtesy codes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have all the family around, you don't say, well, he's 10-7. There ain't nothing we can do about it. Right. No, you work them to the hospital for that family. That's who you're working for now. We know the outcome of this guy. But I in my own heart, I couldn't just go, okay, call the coroner. Right. So that's what I call a courtesy code. We still did the work. We still did everything you have to do. But right. We knew the outcome already before we left the house.
So you're basically just working on the patient for the comfort of the family, knowing that you guys did everything you possibly could.
You don't want, again, you talk about those calls I had. It was a DOA one time of this woman's son. And it was an overdose. Mm-hmm. And again, he was blue and he was stiff. But she was like, can you just shock him one time to see if that would help? I'm like, that's against our rules. I mean, he's in a non-shockable rhythm. Well, just do it anyway. I said, no, these things are recorded. And if a state inspector come in and pull that plug and so, well, you shocked this DOA. Why? I'd lose my card right there on the spot. Mm-hmm. So she hates me to this day. Every now and then, about once a year, I'll see her out or nothing. And she looks like she could run over me with a Mack truck. And I don't say nothing about it because that's her choice. And that's how she's going to deal with it. Right. But, we have our rules and most of them is just common sense stuff. But the people are just like, well, you bring that little yellow box in, you'll save them. Just like they do on TV. I've had that said to me. You got that yellow box. He'll be okay here in a minute. And I'm like, no, okay, we'll do our best. We'll see what's going on. He's in assist leave. And that's the part where and then you get 14 family members jump on your back. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. And so it's just a quandary. Right. It's really a double-edged sword a lot of times. Not me, some, a lot. And, those cars are hard to handle. And if you got some experience and age on you, for young people, they're really hard.
Yeah. Definitely. Now, on the lighter side, and also because, we love a good laugh, what's one of the funniest or craziest stories you've gotten to run on a call in EMS?
Well, again, because the situation is hilarious. This right. Man signed out of a hospital. He made it to the front door, had a massive heart attack, and died. He's about 450 pounds. Smack right in the middle of the doorway. Well, we got in there and we started, working around and stuff. And he had a cat with an extension cord as a collar. It was like he tied an extension cord around the cat, and that was his collar. Then a duck came out of the bathroom.
Jeez.
We had a ride along with us that day. He was just wanting to see if he liked this business. So, we got everything situated with the patient and everything. And just like I said before, we was talking about, who's got good specials today? And he lost his mind. He said, how can you talk about lunch when this man's dead? And needless to say, he went on to be a successful contractor.
He realized that was not the...
It wasn't for him. I knew it wasn't going to be for him because I've known the kid since he was right around 2 or 3 years old. Can't stand blood.
Mm.
So how you going to do this? And I can try it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Be left there and become the first thing he did was a HVAC technician. And now he owns a successful contracting company.
Okay. Well, it worked out for him.
Absolutely.
In a different way.
Hey, no, it worked out. He understood that this is touching a hot stove. This is not. So I'm going to go this way.
Yeah, I'm going to go as far away from that as I can. In 2024, let me rephrase that. In 2024, you were injured lifting a patient.
Yes, sir.
Can you take us back to the moment, and what was it like realizing you couldn't go back to the truck?
Well, the situation was a very obese man, about 650 pounds, with one leg fell out of his bed. He didn't want to go to the hospital. He just wanted to get put back in his bed. So me and my partner looked at it and said, well, we're all right. We're pretty husky guys. So we done the towel around the shoulders, underneath the shoulders thing, and we was going to see if we could lift him up. Well, all we did when we lifted up was move fat. His body didn't go anywhere. So I felt like an ice pick go through my right shoulder. So once we got 7 more people there, we got them on a sheet, drug them over to the sofa, and as we lifted them up to put them on the sofa, I felt my back just pop like that. It was just the most excruciating pain I ever had. But we got him on the couch. We put 2 backboards from the couch to his bed because it was an elevated bed. And we all he-hoed to get him up on that bed. And that's when I felt this shoulder pop and my back pop again. So I just walked outside and sat down, and I was just dying pain. I mean, I never had pain like that. It was like somebody put an ice stick right down the middle of my spine. So that was my last. I was going home. That happened like around 6. I was going home at 7. So I went home. I thought, I'm going to go sleep this off. I'll be all right. Took some ibuprofen, and I went to sleep. When I woke up, I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't move to get out of bed. Eventually we did. I knew if I went to the hospital what was going to happen. I knew it. And I sat there and I still try to work it out. I finally got out of bed, got to the couch, kind of stretched around, laid on the floor. Nothing was working. And my wife convinced me. She said, you need to go to the ER. And I said, well, you know what this is going to do? Because I already have scoliosis. And I have some nerve issues pre-existing, but I still was doing my job at a top rate.
Right.
And I mean, I was sore and it hurt sometimes, but nothing major. This put me down. I still walk with a cane today. And if I want to go into a store or around a park or anything like that, I have a scooter chair. It's a very lightweight chair. All it is a seat it looks like a stair chair with a motor on it.
Okay.
But it gets me around. It's not one of those big, huge things. But if we keep it in the back of my wife's car, it's so small. We can lift it out. It's something we can handle. And as the months went by, it wasn't getting any better. And, and we're here now. So, yeah, it was a hard day to realize that, that was my last call on the truck. I never expected that.
Jeez. So how did that impact your mental health?
There for the first 6-8 months, and it still creeps in now, but I was in a dark place. I kind of kept it from everybody. I always put a smile on my face like I always do. But, when my wife would go to work and I'm just sitting here by myself with me in my head, everybody thinks bad things, especially when they're having a bad day or something like that. But, again, I prayed and I prayed to not just help me, but help me get through this, get me out of this hole. And the Lord did that for me. I was so much in pain. I had pain pills, but I knew what happens when you take pain pills. I knew what happened when you do this stuff, and I would just not take them because I knew what it does to your body, your kidneys, constipates you, does all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be in that boat. So I just sat in pain a lot. I eventually got some shots in my back. It was like ESIs, epidural steroid injections. Mm-hmm. And those took the pain off of it. Then as we went along, I had an ablation done this summer to burn the nerves in my back. That helped tremendously. But it's like that old saying, you take a car in to change the oil, and next thing you know, you're getting a new transmission. Mm-hmm. Now with that pain gone, where I, the way I walked around, the way I did everything, my hips are hurting now. My legs are weak. My shoulders are still weak. And I felt everything else worse. So they gave me an injection in my hip. Helped tremendously. But now like my SI joint's hurting. So, it's just like I fix one thing, two things break. But, we're going on. I thank the good Lord for getting me through those dark times because they was dark and nobody knew it.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. The only person who knew it was my little puppy dog. And again, not to keep dwelling on it, but we got him right before I got hurt. And, if you believe in God sending you a helper, he sent me one with that little puppy dog.
I can imagine.
His name's Quincy, and his little small Maltese. We had a bigger Maltese at one time, like 14, 15 pounds. Cool. This little buddy was, he's 5 pounds. And he's 5 pounds of pure energy. I'm telling you, I love him to death. But yeah, he was sent to help me. And he did. And people can laugh at that or shake their head at it. But until you're in that boot, you'll understand it. And I know a lot of people are in those boots.
Right.
And my biggest suggestion is get help. I would have loved to talk to somebody back then. I would love to have somebody like Aaron Jane, that knew how my mind was working without me knowing how it was working. Mm-hmm. I would have loved that resource. But in short, like I said, I depend on the Lord to get me through every day, not just the bad days, the good days. So that's how I got through it. Because like I said, there's a spot on our 4-lane that just, it's a big grassy area and then it just drops off a cliff. I was thinking, I could say my brakes went out, my steering wheel went out and just drive over top of that. Nothing was going to stop me. There's nothing in the way. But, I was there. Yeah. I was there.
Yeah. The stigma behind that, we know as well as you, I mean, we're well aware of the stigma around first responders asking for help. What's your take on that now?
If you even think about you need help, you need to find somebody. There's so many resources out there. And forget, again, when I went through it, I had all the hard-nosed ex-Vietnam medics and guys that have been there for 50 years and all that stuff. And it was like, you don't cry over that. You don't talk to people like that. Just shut up and go over it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to ever put my dad in a bad light, but he was the same way. I would hurt after a football game or something. And I'm like, Dad, I need to. He said, I'll just go to bed. Just go to bed. Because my dad was one of them roughneck type of guys. He didn't play. He was all about discipline and rules. And he was a fun guy. He really was. I don't mean to put a bad light on him. But in short, I didn't grow up with stuff like that. Today, you have the resources. You have the help to get your mental health right. Because that's just the most important as your physical health. The calls and stuff we all see, pull up on a car wreck and next thing you know, you see a kid laying underneath the car. That's trauma. I don't care how tough you are. Yeah. That's trauma. And if you hide it, all it is going to do is eat you until you're gone.
Yeah. I know one of the things about this podcast, we are connecting with people that have degrees in psychology and deal specifically with first responders and their mental health. And we're trying to help them affect change by getting the word out, by speaking about it. And, it's important for first responders to be healthy, mentally, 100%. Emotionally, and physically.
100%. Yes, sir.
So, that's one of the things that we're,
and like I said,
trying to do.
In my days growing up, we didn't have this stuff until my last 5, 6, 7 years on EMS. And all I can say is, guys, whoever's listening to this, if you're having those dark days and you just think about something, now you can pick up the phone, you can get on the computer, you can contact these people, you can go to see a mental health specialist. All those resources are there now. They're there now for people who didn't have them, for people who need them. They're there. So please use them. Please use them.
Yeah, and remember, this is for the audience. We do have a hotline, and even though we're not licensed therapists or psychologists, I will be there to listen and talk.
And that's
if you want me to listen, I will listen.
That's the biggest thing. You just need somebody to listen to you and not judge you, not try to jump in with war stories while you're trying to tell your war stories. They just sit back and listen to what these people are saying. You don't have to give advice. Sometimes they just need a friend to listen to them,
right?
To get that off their chest. I've done that before. I've had bad days. I've come in and told my partner, "Man, this ain't right," and he'd go, "Yeah, I agree. This just don't feel right, does it?" And I'm like, "No," and we would talk about it. And before I knew it, I felt lighter about it just because we communicated about it.
Right.
So communication is the key. And if you never put that foot forward to go to get mental health, you're never going to get it. Understand, like you said, there's no stigmas to it anymore. There's no, "Oh, you're not a tough guy." To deal with all that stuff by yourself, you're a hell of a tough guy. So go get the help you need.
Yep. Exactly. It's okay to not be okay.
Absolutely.
But it's not okay to not be okay and then not do anything about it.
Agreed. 100%.
So now we're going to talk about some of your radio adventures here. So you loved radio always, and now you're a DJ on the Thin Line Rock Station. How did that come to be, and how does spinning music compare to running emergency calls?
Well, like I said, in short, I follow a lot of EMS stuff, and I saw this Thin Line station on there one time. And I started following them, I saw where James put out an email or a text asking for DJs. I was a DJ out of college for a while. I done professional DJ, or not professional, but like private for dances and stuff like that. I got paid, but I was far from the professional. And even back then, I had a mentor that, don't laugh at this, but he taught me 2 things in life that I'll never forget: how to break dance and how to DJ. Yeah, I know. It's funny to imagine, but I love breakdancing. But this was, again, I was 16 years old.
Right.
And I was in pretty good shape back then. I tried today, I'm just going to go to the trauma center.
Yeah. That's why I was laughing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I couldn't imagine seeing you doing that now.
See me trying to do that, but and I thought, well, that might be something fun to do. So I contacted him. He said, sure, we'll put you on. He gave me a few day spots here and there. The next thing you know, he gave me a morning show every morning. And to tell you that this has been more therapeutic than anything I've ever done will be an understatement.
Yeah.
It's awesome that I can sit here and talk around the world. It's just not, I'm talking to Williamson. I'm not just talking to Belfry. I'm talking to the whole daggone world, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find that just friggin' crazy that I can sit in my little room here and talk all around the world. And to do that and to play music, I love music. I'm a music aficionado. My best friend Jared and Matt, now them guys are a little bit higher level than I am. They got better equipment. I got some nice equipment. Don't get me wrong. I got some nice stereo equipment.
Right.
But Jared has all this vintage stuff. He has like a $500 or $500 turntable that he listens music on. He has a wall in his basement, nothing but albums. So his mom probably gave me the love of different music. My dad and mom both listened to both types of music, country and Western. And then as I got older, 6, 7, 8, 9, Linda would always have the Eagles, just all those 70s, 80s band, and I'm like, what is this? And she was, she gave me an outside lesson about music all my life.
Yeah.
You walk in and there was never music not playing. And I'm the same way. I could not turn the TV on for days and it wouldn't bother me as long as I had a radio. And a radio put me to sleep at night. A radio is what woke me up in the morning. It gives you, listen to songs throughout whatever. You put a Rocky soundtrack on and I may go through a wall. You put on some Volbeat or some Metallica or Five Finger Death Punch, just stay away from me for a while. Because you don't want, but I also can listen to Air Supply. I can listen to anybody. You listen to my playlist, you'll go from Metallica to Mozart.
Right.
You got music that will save you and music that could condemn you.
Right.
But music has always been the biggest part of my life, and it's always been there. And again, it helps keeps them voices out of my head. I can put my headphones on and lay back in my big chair and just disappear into the music.
Right.
I mean, my boss would say that. I'd be sitting there with my headphones on and he'd walk by and somebody say, hey, he's gone. He ain't here right now.
Yeah.
He's not here right now. That's how music has helped me in this gig, if you will. I love it.
Yeah. Definitely your story reminds me of when I was a kid growing up, being a kid, and my mom would like to take us on a picnic. And generally we would have to drive from Hayward to Fremont. And there's this place in Fremont. It's called, not Half Moon Bay, but it's called, had it on the tip of my tongue, and now it's
when you think about it at 2 a.m., call me.
Yeah, it'll be there. Yeah. Man, that's weird because I was thinking about that the other day, and I was just like reminiscing about going on the picnics and going Niles Canyon, I think.
Okay.
Driving through the canyon, and there's like a river that people like to go to the bridges and jump off into the river and stuff. And we go picnicking, and then instead of going through the city to go home, we would take the back way home through the canyon in the dark. Wow. And all the great music came out. I mean, Eddie Money, all the good music came out at night.
It's called Gen X.
Yes.
We're quite proud of it.
No seatbelts. We're like up on the front, on the front seats, just and listening and just jamming out to the music. And I always wondered why my mom always took the canyon route, because she was night blind.
Oh, that's a nice thing to know, Mom. Let's go in the darkest place we can go, and you can't see in the dark.
I think she just loved it, and she just loved the drive. And I loved it too.
There's peace to that. And, you know, you was talking about your drives. My dad was musically also a big influence on me. He would listen to late 50s, early 60s, and he listened to blues. And I love blues music because I love the stories. I love the stories of. I don't care too much about the beat, and it's going to come with it. But the tale of the Emmett Fitzgerald, that's a story. American Pie, that's a story. And I love story songs. But he had an 8-track tape, and it had about 12 songs on it, and it was all like Dion and I'll Cry at My Party and et cetera, et cetera. I know them, but I can't think of them. But and it's just the peace that music brings you. I hate taking off the headphones because it's like the real world kicks you right back in the face.
Right.
These things are like time machines. You can get in them, and you can go back to 1985. You can go back to 1986 and listen to Def Leppard, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, all these guys that made your life what it was. And the biggest thing about it is when, I'm just a little bit older than you are, but that's all we had.
All right.
Music was the only thing we had. We didn't have instant songs because you put a backbeat and a voice changer on it and get a hit for 20 minutes. You're successful. Right. No, you wrote an album, a whole 12-side, 16 songs, and the whole thing, Paranoid by Black Sabbath.
Yep.
You listen to that. That's a story. Rush. Those are stories. Plus, they got the greatest drummer of all time, full stop.
Rush, yes.
I say Neil Peart. I know it's Peart, or however you say it, but I was raised saying Peart. So to me, it's Neil Peart.
Neil Peart, yep.
We will return after this quick ad break.
The William H. Bill Butler Jr. Foundation is on a mission to honor first responders and support those who serve. We provide scholarships for families who have lost a hero in the line of duty, offer second chances to juvenile offenders who are working to rebuild their future, and help new recruits pursuing careers as first responders. Through generous donations and the sale of merchandise, we're building a community that uplifts, empowers, and creates lasting impact. You can be a part of this mission as well. Visit 8158podcast.com to donate or shop today. Together, we can support those who serve, honor those we've lost, and give hope to those who need it most. Behind every badge is a story, and behind every story is a sacrifice. This is the 8158 podcast, where we honor the lives and legacies of first responders and their families. If our mission speaks to your heart, if these stories move you like they move us, join us on Patreon. For just $5 a month, you'll get ad-free listening, exclusive merchandise, behind-the-scenes content, and video episodes only available to our patrons. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement, and you can be a part of it. Support us at patreon.com/8158podcast. Let's continue to share the stories that deserve to be heard.
Yeah, it's funny, even when the rap era came out, I used to listen to the radio station in the Bay Area. It was 106.1 KMEL. And we would have to wait for our favorite songs when we had to put the cassettes in.
Absolutely.
So we could record them.
That's a Sunday night with Casey Kasem. You said, because that's the big hits of what's going on right now.
Right.
But I'm like you, to me, going out of town and catching another radio station was like gold to me.
Right.
We would go to the beach and WKZQ from Myrtle Beach. That was the ultimate radio station in my mind when I was a kid. It was bigger than anything in New York or LA. That was the best radio station to me, period.
Right.
And the guy would always, you could set your watch on it every 10 minutes. You better turn before you burn. And, it was just because they played such music and the DJs were so personable, crazy. You just like, man, I like to be sitting right there in that room.
Right. Just enjoying it. Yeah, I remember taking all the stereo equipment that we had and hooking up all the speakers and turning up the bass. Get them all hooked up and just
blow them others to the sky. Be like Back to the Future when he turned that amp up and it just blew the whole. I've done that many times myself.
Yeah. I loved it back in the day. Man, those were our childhoods.
The thing about it is people can say what they want to. These kids and these generations are now saying they're the toughest that ever lived. No, you aren't. I don't care what you say. We didn't have safe spaces. We didn't have play dates. If you wanted to know where everybody was, you found the bicycles in front of the house.
Right.
That's how you found out where everybody was.
Yep.
Again, all the classic niches. We drank out of the water hose. We was raised on neglect because our parents was just trying to survive. My mom and dad both worked. When I woke up, oatmeal was sitting on the table. I heated it up in the microwave. I went to school. When I came home, TV dinner was in the freezer. You put that in. Because my dad wouldn't be home until 5. My mom probably wouldn't be home until about 5:30. And literally you had the key in your pocket or around your door. But I never used it. Like I said earlier, I didn't know I had a house key till I was 18.
Right. Yeah, one of the things in my neighborhood, if you had a problem with a kid, there was no such thing as a keyboard warrior.
No, we didn't have. The only thing you hid behind was that Band-Aid on your nose after you got done fighting with each other. And the thing about it was, too, and I'm sure you can relate with this, man, I could get in a knockdown, drag-out fight, bloody, clothes tore, and be wore out laying on the ground. We'd get up, shake hands, and go about our business.
Yeah, or become friends.
Most of them was with my friends.
I had a fight with a kid at school, and him and I became friends after that.
Absolutely. I've done that several times. But it's just nowadays, I'll just shoot you. And don't have no remorse. Don't have no care about it.
Right.
So.
Definitely different. I mean.
Different times.
In my neighborhood, if you had a problem with the kid, the neighbors would come out. Like if you were going to fight, all the neighbors, even the adults, would come out and make a circle. And nobody left that circle until the fight was over.
Absolutely. You said that. That made me think about my really good friend, Jared. He got in a fight one time, and this guy challenged him to a fight at 8:30 in the morning at school. The fight's going to be at 3:30 at the field house. So I thought by that time, ESPN was going to be down there. It was just all over town.
It's spread.
I mean, we showed up down there, and it was 50. I said we should have charged for tickets.
Yeah, admission.
But just like you said, we stood around in a circle. I stood there, it was raining, and the guy was much better fighter than Jared. But he stood his ground. His claim to fame was he never knocked me down. Right. And he didn't. He didn't knock him down. But, we got hell from his mommy after we got him. Linda was just like, why didn't you? Because Linda, they planned this at 8:30. I thought we was going to have a boxing ring down there when we, you don't ever plan a fight for all day.
Right.
But it, like I said, it was all just one-sided. And when it was getting ready to get out of hand, I just stepped up and went, okay, we're done. We're done. You proved your point. Let's go home. Because the guy that he was fighting knew a little bit of karate and stuff. And you can tell he was going to try to finish it. And I was like, no, we're done.
That's it.
But anyway, in short, he stood his ground. He did what he stood up for what he wanted to stand up for. And he never went down, never hit the ground.
Right. That's good. I mean, he stood his ground. So as far as being on Thin Line Rock Station, do you have any favorite online moments or songs that make you laugh every time they come on?
Oh, I got a million songs that can do that. I listen to it, and I will listen to the song before I'll do any recording on both sides of it. I'll listen. I mean, it takes me a while. Most people can do one, X amount of time. I'm longer than that because I listen to all the music before I play it because I want to hear the songs. I can. This one the other day had a Godsmack on there, Under Your Scars.
Yeah,
I think I listened to that thing 3 times before I recorded on it. But no. The funny thing that I find now is go back and listen to my first ones. I wasn't comfortable. I was trying to be a DJ. And, like I said, I can negotiate with myself in my head. Like, okay, Joe, this ain't working. This ain't cool. You wouldn't like to hear this. So that's how I kind of base everything I do is would I want to hear this sitting on the beach, relaxing.
Yeah.
So I try to put a scaffolding around it and build it from there. But from the first time to now, I'm very comfortable. I don't tense up when I have to do this when I did in the beginning. Because again, you want it to be good. You want it to sound like John Boy and Billy or something. You want it to sound like that. But you can't do that. You can't do that because they're there, they're them, and I'm me.
Right.
So, I love listening to the songs. I love listening to the music. I try to figure out how I can incorporate each one into the next one.
Right.
And sometimes that's hard. I take 10, 12 takes on one thing and throw down the computer and kick the light over and I lay down on my bed here for about 10 minutes, regroup. Okay, we don't quit. I tell my grandson, hey, you got to do the hard stuff, baby. So I was finding myself, this is the hard thing right now. You got to do
it. Yeah, you'll have to see some of the bloopers that I do.
I did. I saw them. And I'm the same way. I'm like, what the hell did I just say? What was I would be the I'm having a stroke?
What the
yeah, what the bleep am I doing here? Why did this guy put me on the air?
Right. It's funny. It's some funny stuff. Oh my gosh. It's hilarious. But I love it. It
is. To me, like I told you earlier, it's a great thing. And I'll be here until he kicks me off.
Yep. Me too. It's addicting. And I'm thankful that he gave me the spots that he gave me.
Absolutely. My family always referenced David's sword. After he killed the giant, he put the sword up in this village. And when he came back around having this battle, he knew that sword was right there. So we always refer to things as David's sword. Things that are in the right place at the right time.
Right.
And this station came along at the right place and the right time.
Exactly.
And it's just like you said, it's peaceful to me, therapeutic to me.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. I'm glad that you have that. And now do I.
Well,
and I am
having we're going to have a good time. We're going to have we're building up that DJ list. I remember when it was like 4 or 5, maybe 6 on them, and now we got 2 pages of them.
2 pages. It's a lot of time to fill.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you talk about 24/7,
yeah.
But the music is on point. Our station is on point. Those 2, JJ and James, they have it going in the right direction.
Yes, definitely.
I didn't know till the other day we had a NASCAR.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's not a NASCAR, big NASCAR time, but it's a B-League NASCAR. And it won the other day.
Okay. Kind of like an ARCA race, NASCAR.
I guess, because I don't know much about NASCAR. I know they go left.
You see the back of my wall. There's full of.
Oh yeah. Now again, that's what's odd is people in this area. When I was growing up, NASCAR was a second religion. It was. I mean, people was crazy about NASCAR.
Yeah.
I turned it on to see who started. I'll come back in 3 hours, watch the last 5 laps, and I'm good. People, did you see that lap 47 turn? He tried it. No, I didn't.
Right.
Or what I would remember, lap 47. But anyway, yeah, we got a NASCAR, and it won. And a crazy finish. It had like cars wrecking all around him. Who had it on? Maybe Sports Cac or Turk or one of them. They put it on their thing. And
Turk
like,
did?
I think so. I'd have to go, but I'm sure you can just type that into YouTube and see the Thin Line Rock Station NASCAR.
Okay. I'm going to have to check that out. I didn't know that because I love NASCAR.
Well, but I just hope and pray that, we keep this going. People start really supporting us because we support the people who support us.
Yes.
And that's, to me, very important, especially now in the shape I'm in. To be honest with you, I wasn't an EMS person. Going all through my years of EMS, I wasn't one of those people that wore the EMS shirts, that had EMS flags on the back of the car. I never owned an EMS shirt, except what we got appreciation one that time a hospital gave us one.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't do it. I guess I don't know if I had a block on it. I just didn't want to be one of them. I never wanted to be one of those people. I don't have no Raider tattoos all over me. That's dedication.
Yeah.
I have nothing against tattoos. My son and daughter-in-law has some beautiful tattoos.
Yeah.
I love them. I love the art. I'm sure you might have heard it, but I got one guy one time, and he said he had tattoos up both arms, completely covered. I said, now this might be tricky. He said, go through the eye. And there was a skull right there on his AC in the middle of his arm, and the eye was right where his AC was.
Okay.
So I went through the eye, hit it. So
nice.
And those are really hard sticks.
Yeah.
Because you don't get the visual. Yeah. It's still some of these guys, you know what I'm talking about. You got these bikers and construction workers, they got forearms like Popeye.
Right.
I've bit needles going into arms before.
Holy moly.
I'm like, what you all doing? I said, where do you work? The rock quarry? You just pick up rocks all day?
Right. Banging rocks. So moving on here, you light up when you talk about your grandson.
Love it. Well, I got 2.
Okay.
Right now, his name's Octavius. He's in 1st grade. And the other one is named Adonis, but his nickname's Peanut.
That's funny.
That's what they named him. And now he's getting to the point where, don't call me Peanut, call me Adonis. He wants to have his first name. So I got 2 that's just my life and love. But Tavy, I pick up more. I see more because I pick him up from school. Peanut's not in school yet. So, yeah, and just to see him get in the truck, and he's to the point where I don't ask him the question was how was school today? I'll say, what did you do in school today? And he's still good.
Good.
I didn't ask you that. I know, but I'm going to say good anyway. Well, okay. Just like today. How was your pretest? Good. How was lunch? Good. How was the creek? Good. But yeah, those are my babies. I'm a typical pawpaw. I'll talk about them all day long if you let me.
I say the nickname for your grandson is funny because that's what my mom used to call me when I was
Peanut.
a kid. She called me Peanut because when I was born, I looked like Charlie Brown from the Peanuts gang.
They named him Peanut because in the ultrasound, he looked like a little peanut.
He looked like a peanut.
He was Peanut before he even came out.
Yeah, I looked like Charlie Brown.
That's cool.
She put one of those shirts on me that looked like, oh my gosh, it was funny.
Yeah, that would be funny.
So that big, fat, bald head.
All those squiggly on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. So what's a typical day like with your grandkids, and how has being Papa Jabba helped heal parts of you?
Those kids have healed me in ways that I couldn't even begin to fathom. A typical day, let's say a Saturday, they stay all night or something. As bad as I hate to say it, they're phone kids. They're on those phones. And what Tavy will do is he'll get the phone from Peanut, type in a game, and then go on my PlayStation or Xbox and play it, and they're playing it at the same time.
Yeah.
They're in the same little cube or whatever, and they play these it's a crazy game called Roblox or something like that.
Yeah.
But he loves that. He loves playing Fortnite. He loves anything scary. Everything to him has to be scary.
Oh my God.
Except when he gets scared. And then it's the loudest squeal you ever heard. And he's like, ah! But it's just typical kids. In the summer we go swimming. We got a pool. So we go out here and go swimming. We'll, go to the park. He loves going to the park every sunny day. And see, during football season, we, had practice and stuff. He'd get in the car. Can we go to the park? Baby, you got practice. Okay.
Okay.
But now he don't have practice, but it's cold like the other day. We went to the playground, so it's warm enough to go to the park. I'm like, I ain't going to the park today.
That's pretty awesome. I've yet to, unfortunately, have not experienced grandfatherhood yet. Although I do have two daughters, and they're in their 20s. One of them will be getting married soon.
You're in the game. You're in the game.
Making me feel old, man.
Well, because we are old. I'm older than you are.
Yeah. Yes, this is true.
I like it when these kids go, you was born in the 1900s? And I'm like, that makes me feel like, man, was I on the old West Plain or something? I feel like we're in the desert or something when you say the 1900s.
Like yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't ride a horse.
Well, maybe when you're younger, I rode horses.
Oh, yeah, of course. My uncle had horses, and we rode them all the time. And right. I loved riding a horse. It was one of the best thrills I ever got.
Yeah, loved it. Horses are amazing.
Mm-hmm. They're beautiful animals.
Yeah. So now looking back, what's one of the things you tell a younger medic or first responder about balance and purpose and finding joy outside of the job?
Well, the first thing I tell them is do not work 72 hours in a week. Do not work 92 hours in a week. The money's good. The overtime's great. But you'll make your money. That's where you get hooked into it. That's why I call it EMS quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm 18 years old and I got an EMT card and I'm making $30,000 a year. You know, I'm big time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing about what nobody tells you is when you're 28, you're still going to be making that same $30,000 a year.
Right.
You know, you may be a couple thousand higher through the 10 years. But when you turn 38, unless you got an advanced certificate or advanced degree in this stuff, you're still making around the same money. And even if you become a medic or a flight medic or a critical care transport, you're still going to be making around that same money. Now, of course, today they pay a little bit better than when I started. Excuse me.
Nice push.
But the first thing I would tell them is don't live your life in this field.
Right.
Go home. Take your boots off at the door and you leave them there until you pick them back up when you leave for work. Enjoy your family. Don't live this job. It's a job.
Yeah.
And it's a great job. And it does have a great community. But don't live it. You know, I know people I see at Walmart look like they're going to work. They call you in today? Oh, no. No, why? Well, you dress like you're getting ready to get on a truck. Oh, yeah, I just like to, have this stuff ready. I said, man, go home, put some shorts on, put a tank top on.
Relax. Yeah.
Relax. Put some music on. Get some sun on you. You need vitamin D. Yeah.
Right.
You're white. Go get some tan. But, you got people that live this life, and it's a job. And that's what's hard for some of these young people to determine, that you go home, and it's hard to sometimes separate it. And you get better at that with age. I'm telling you this from experience. I worked every overtime shift because I'm making this money, but I'm killing myself.
Yeah.
I'm killing myself. I'm not eating right. I'm eating out of convenience stores every day. I'm not doing right because I'm on this job 20. I knew guys that worked 96 hours a week and loved it. I'm like, man, I got into this job because I got 120 days. I just worked 120 days a year, when it was a 24-48 thing.
Yeah.
I'm 120 days a year. I'm all over that. Sign me up. But like I said, the quicksand got me. Next thing you know, you're getting a few bills, credit card, you're paying for some, and it just sinks you. Then you can't get out. You can't get out to go back to school because you got these bills to pay for. I always wanted to go back and finish my 4-year degree. I probably 20 at that time was about maybe 20 hours away from that. But I never did because I got into EMS. First off, I came home, and you talking about being dark. After I got hurt and lost everything and I was out of that bubble, let me tell you something, that's the hardest bubble to ever go out of because you can't go back.
Right.
I got hurt. I got my knee shoved up my butt. You can't go back to that. So I came home and sat in my room for about 6-7 weeks and didn't even see sunshine. It was a hard thing. And my dad was there to, okay, let's go. Let's get up. Let's go find a job. So I got a job at a local convenience store down right from my house. And that, again, I appreciate you doing this for me. I love it. I love talking about things I love and I'm passionate about. Music, and helping the first responders with any wisdom I have.
Yeah, exactly. If you would have asked me a couple of years ago that I would be sitting here doing a podcast, not just a podcast, but a podcast with first responders, I'd be telling you that you are crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean,
But
I never thought I'd be sitting like this. Even after I got hurt, I never dreamed of this. So
right.
again, it's fell in my lap. It's fell in your lap. It's fell in your wife's lap. So my biggest thing right now, I want to take advantage of this.
Absolutely.
I used to tell my kids that today is August 1st. Today is the first day of practice. This is your last first day of practice for your junior year, for your senior year. So don't waste it. Take advantage of it. And that's what I want to do with this stuff. I want to take advantage of it. I want to learn. I want to learn off other people.
Yeah.
That's why I listen to the station mainly all day long. And it's a good station to listen to.
Yeah.
I just like that. I don't want to take it for granted is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
I take Monday as it comes. Then once Monday's done, Tuesday. I don't sit there and go, well, I wish it was Friday. Or I wish I was, I said those wishes. Oh, I wish I was 21 when I was 16. No, I want to go back to 16. Life was much, much easier, much, much funner.
Yeah.
Funner. Oh, Miss Glover was with me on that one. One of my English teachers.
Funner.
Love her heart. She's 97 years old.
Oh my gosh.
And she has no filters. And nobody ever put filters on her. So you walk in and say, you little semen head, get in here. And you would go, okay, Miss Glover. So and she would call at your mom and I love Joey and I love those two crazy brothers of his, but Joey's getting F this time. I thought you just should know. And then it was on.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, I diverse. I get off the road a lot. But again, like I told you before, I find peace in it.
Yeah.
I don't like listening to myself talk because I sound like a hillbilly from Southern West Virginia. But that's me.
That's your personality. That's who you are.
One time I was doing an internship up in northern Kentucky at Covington. And I was calling the dispatcher to get some times off something I was doing. And the first thing she said, she went, okay, you're not from here. What part of Southern West Virginia are you from? And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, you're not from here. I can tell by the way you're talking. It sounds like you're from Southern West Virginia. Yes, ma'am. I'm from Williamson. Okay. So that broke my heart because I didn't think I talked like everybody else around here. I thought, man, I can do this. I can do that. I sound like a halfway educated person. No, I was completely wrong.
Well, I mean, your uniqueness brings a level that differs from everybody else.
Exactly. So, everybody has it.
Exactly.
You just gotta let it go. Don't put that wall up. Don't put that wall up.
Exactly.
If you mess up while you're making a recording, like you did the other night, just let it go, man. I'm glad I don't have a blooper reel. Because, I still have the anger that can boil up in me. I still have that beast in me somewhere in here. And I'll throw this computer across the room and knock this microphone out of the way. I'm like, y'all, who wants to listen to me? But anyway, I'm thankful for the chance.
Yeah, so am I, and it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure to be able to do that. I'm glad that he contacted us and gave us this opportunity.
Well, that's awful. That shows what kind of guy he was. I sent my voice thing in. It sounded like pure crap. I didn't even do it like he would. I said, okay, I'll introduce in the air tonight. I'll say something about the day, and then I'll go into the next song.
Yeah.
That's how I done my interview, because I didn't know how to do that. That was me. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to sit here and play In the Air Tonight for you the whole song, and then try to, I'm going to play In the Air Tonight. You can imagine that. At the end of that, I'm going to say, this, and this, and this. So that was my interview, and he still put me on.
Yeah, he's a pretty awesome guy. I'm definitely looking forward to tomorrow and going over the song lists. And
yeah, I like doing that. I'll look at it and think, oh, okay, now I can do this with this song and this with this song. Jump in that time machine. We'll go back to 78 to, Leonard Skinner or something. I try to, like I said, in my mind, I want to keep everything seamless.
Yeah.
I know, there's sometimes you just don't even introduce the next song. You just end what you were saying.
Right.
Or sometimes all you do is introduce the song.
Right.
This is Phil Collins in the Air Tonight. This is the Finline Rock Station. But it's just, I want it to flow like those old DJs I used to listen to.
Yeah.
Just, I know real quick. Are you familiar with the Turkey Drop? Come on now, you're on WKRP
in Cincinnati.
Yeah, yeah, that's the show.
Yeah, I watched that show. Yes.
Okay, did you watch the Turkey Drop?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Go watch that. All you got to do is type in WKRP Turkey Drop. So that episode changed their projection. They was getting ready to cancel. After that episode, they become top ranked stars. But anyway, I was going to say, I love, that's one of the funniest scenes of anything ever is that Turkey Drop scene. So I got a shirt the other day. My wife got me just for the fun of it. It was a WKRP shirt. And on the back of it, it said Turkey Drop 1978. So I don't even know what we was talking about. I got off on that bad.
No, we were just talking about the radio station, and
I just wanted to be a success. Yeah, I like being a part of a team that is successful. Yeah, and and a lot of times successful is not a scoreboard. And that's how I looked at it. If we won, we won. If we lost because stupid mistakes, then we have to correct that. If we got our butts whooped by a better team, we just got our butts whooped by a better team.
Yeah.
So I just want to be on a team. I'm a team guy.
Yeah.
And I don't believe people can do it on their own. And that's why I like bouncing off you, listening to your wife. I was getting ready to say bounce off your wife, but I don't think you'd appreciate it. Oh, don't tell her I said
that. She's going to hear it.
I know. That's stupid. But, I was just rolling with it. Bounce off you, man. And I went, listen to your wife. But anyway, with all these DJs we got, and I have listened to all about most of them. There's something. And a lot of people can't catch me. Like I said, that's early in the morning.
Yeah.
People who might be getting up and going to work, my friends all get up at 6 now. And they'll hear my show and start texting me while I'm still dead ass asleep in bed.
You're still sleeping.
And that was a good song. I'm glad you played that song. I ain't heard that song in a long time. Shut up, I'm in bed.
Yeah.
I told you how this worked. I'm not up at 6 a.m. But in short, I just want the station, you, your wife, me, Aaron Jane, Turk, G, all of us.
Yeah.
To be successful. And that means putting a good product out there that we're proud of.
Exactly.
Not the scoreboard, but what we put out. And I know there's some days that I'm talking to no one. Part of this online radio world.
Right.
But you know what? I don't want to know the numbers. I've asked and said, nope, don't tell me. Because I'm still acting like I'm talking to 100,000 people every morning.
Right.
And I may be. But I'm going to give my best every day.
We're talking to the world. Remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't know who's turning on. And like I said, I didn't really think guys in California was doing this with us.
Yeah.
And it was great to hear that. Because I'm thinking, well, maybe somebody in California likes the station. They're going to hear me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just want to put out a good product. I'll put out the best product I can.
Right.
I won't be fake. I've never been fake. And if I can help anybody, if I can do anything for anybody, contact me, man. I'm game. Me and Quincy will do anything we can do for you.
Right. Yeah. Being a team, it's going to make the station become its greatest because everybody's unique. They have their own stories, their own perspectives. They have their own personalities.
And that's what makes it, all that together, separate by one person. Here I am, a redneck up here in southern West Virginia, but that can play off of you from central Kentucky.
Yeah.
That can play off of those guys from California. I keep saying those guys because I don't know their name. I can't remember them, but they was really entertaining and they was really well spoken. And I have to look at my list and see who they are.
Yeah.
So I apologize to them, but I will. And I do that every morning. I shout out whatever's coming the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I said, we got, 3 DJs coming up. It's blah, blah, blah. But today we got 5, so I mentioned everybody who's working that day.
Right.
And I try to make a point of that because I want to support everybody.
Exactly.
Somebody just getting up, they miss, they got 10 minutes left of me. But if they know that you're coming up right behind me, I'm going to leave this on. I'm going to listen to him.
Right.
If your wife's right behind me, I'm going to listen to her.
Right.
And then they do the same thing and they do the same thing. And now you got people who are hooked in every day and you got them, got a good teaser for next hour, great music for the next hour. And I just hope, it's the old saying, if you do this, you will die as individuals. You won't die together. But I'm losing my thought here.
Scrambled.
Yeah, I'm scrambled for a second. But in short, I want to put out a good product. I want to support everybody on this station. And I'll do anything and everything that I can do to support you, support everybody, to make this station top notch.
Exactly. And that's kind of my goal too, is I want to support everybody. And I'm trying to get to know the other DJs, not know them personally, but know who they are and their personalities.
You're wrong. It's not like I'm trying to come in and save the station. I've had medics that come from other stations who came to our station and they walked in the door like, I'll save this place.
Jeez.
Well, what are you going to save it from? We're making money. The paydays don't bounce. So what are we saving?
Right. We're not trying to save anything.
Because they came from, a bigger ambulance service or whatever. And like, I'll save the day. I don't want to sound like that. I'm just a part of the chain, a spoke in the wheel.
Cog in the wheel,
Yeah, and that's what I want to be. I don't want to be outspoken. I don't want to make anybody mad. That's my worst fear in the world, that you're mad at me. If you're mad at me, I don't care. If we can fix it, I'll try to fix it. But if it's not, we're separate ways.
Yeah. I'd like to get to know everybody and, grow together.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
A team.
Absolutely.
It's important, Yeah, so I'm having fun. I enjoy it.
That's all that matters, right there. As long as you're having fun.
I'm not perfect all the time, even though
Nobody is.
I try to play like I'm perfect, but I'm not.
No. And I quit. That's another thing I learned early is I'm not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I listen to a whole lot of DJs on other radios. And you hear them, heck, I don't even know what I'm going to say now, but they keep going. And that's their personality, or they're fumbling around on something. They don't care. I fumble. Yeah. So what?
Yeah.
So I'm getting that in my comfort zone now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like you. I'd like to support all the other DJs, and make it a team effort and just, grow together. I don't know how long the radio station has been on, but
It's been on for several years. If
Okay.
I maybe because I know Aaron's been with him for at least a year.
Okay.
So
a little while. Huh?
It's it's for something that started in a backyard barbecue.
Wow.
This thing started in a backyard barbecue. They're trying to do this. They come up with that. Let's put a radio station on for first responders. And then they put, out of their pockets, they put all this together. They organized it. They did it. And now me and you were talking about it, and me and you both are working for them.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. And they have a race car.
And they have a race car.
That's crazy. I did not know that. Well, that's pretty awesome. Definitely have to.
I think if you look on the web or the Facebook page and go way down, I don't know how far it is now, because they put stuff on there all day long, but they had it on there one time.
Okay. That's pretty awesome. Yes, sir. I think that's all the time that I have for the moment. Hopefully, in the near future, we can have you back on here and we can banter and talk some more shop.
Absolutely. It'd be my pleasure. Anytime, my buddy.
Absolutely. It's been great. And I definitely appreciate you coming on to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. That's my honor. It's, like I said, this is the first time I did this. I've enjoyed it. I've had a blast.
Yeah.
So I could be a constant guest on anybody's podcast.
Yeah. There's other podcasts out there. So, if people reach out, they can talk to you.
Yeah, because I know just enough stuff to make me look stupid about everything.
That's what I say about the Spanish. I know enough Spanish to sound stupid and get myself in trouble.
In high school, in Spanish class, we learned the Richie Valens song about the boat. No, I can't think of it right now. But it was a Spanish song.
Uh-huh.
We learned that, and now I'll walk up to this, like my son walk in and go, singing part of that song or something. He's like, or say part of that song. What are you saying? But now I can't get that over. He works in a federal prison.
Okay.
That you've been to.
Yes. I went to.
Yeah. And so now he knows all the cool Spanish stuff and the Portuguese stuff and the Middle Eastern stuff. He comes home and drops all kinds of stuff on me.
That's funny. Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't know that he worked there when I told you that that's where I was. I was driving up there to pick up a load of pallets. So that's pretty crazy. I did not know that.
Small world, man.
Yeah.
Small world.
And we just talked before that, and I'd never really been down in that area.
Came to the hills, baby.
Yep.
To the hills. Get you some apple butter.
Right.
Man, I'm craving some of that apple butter.
Reminds me of that song by Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills.
Oh, yeah. But my mom made the best apple butter. My aunts made the apple butter. And now, my mom's gone. My aunt's up in age and she can't do it no more. And you go to these little stores and these little booths or something, apple butter for $5.
Yeah.
No. I bought it. I guess I got to keep it. But no, I won't eat this. This ain't right.
Right.
But again, it is what it is.
Yes, sir.
But it's been
Yes.
It's been my pleasure. And I'll let you get off here and go do some more work. I'm going to go down here and sit on the couch.
Thanks.
I may get me a glass of water.
Yeah. I think it's that time for me to take my meds and probably go to sleep because
I love medicine sleep.
Yeah. Because I got to get up early and go to work.
I recommend it for anybody.
Yeah. Got to take meds for my psychoticness. No, just kidding. It's not psychoticness. I just have panic attacks.
I hate that for you because I understand those are really, really hard.
Very,
very hard. And people think, well, just get over it. Just go on. No. It takes work. It takes tools. It takes people.
Yes, it does.
And you still don't get over, but you learn how to manage it.
Yep. And it took me 40-something years to ask for help.
And I always, you think back, if I'd done this in my 20s, where would I be with this situation now?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. A little glimpse into moi.
Absolutely. Well, hey, like we said, there's no shame in talking about it. There's no shame in asking for help about it.
Yep. So I was one of those guys that did not like taking medications. I never liked taking medications, even when I was a kid.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I didn't. I guess because I know what they did to your body, I didn't want to fool with them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the worst thing I took. Now, when I was in my younger days, there was a lot of ET involved in my life, but I hid that well from my parents. But yeah, it's just I don't figure out what I'm saying, so I'm scrambled. So let's call it a night. We're gonna call it a night.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Have a good night.
We'll talk to you soon. All right. God bless you.
You too.
Bye-bye. I'll turn this thing.
All right, everybody. That was DJ Jabba. Him and I are DJing on the same rock station, the Thin Line Rock Station. He's former EMS, also a coach, and unfortunately, he had to stop doing his job because he got injured on the job. But he found other purpose, and he's doing things with his life, and he's loving his family and his grandchildren. He's living his best life. That's pretty awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the 8158 podcast, Stories of Sacrifice. This is Rico. I am your host, and I will see you again. Good night.
Thank you for joining us on 8158 Stories of Sacrifice. Every story we share is a tribute to the courage and resilience of first responders and their families. If this episode impacted, encouraged, or inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who supports first responders. Follow us on all social media platforms at 8158 Podcast for updates. 8158 Stories of Sacrifice is a team effort. Rico brings the stories to life through casting, writing, original music, and editing. Brianne Shipley as production manager, handling booking, social media, graphics, promotion, marketing, website management, and logo design. Please visit our website at 8158podcast.com. For questions, collaborations, or to share your story, our email address is contactus@8158podcast.com. Until next time, let's continue to honor the legacies and remember the sacrifices of those who serve, every brave man and woman on the front lines, protecting and defending us all. This is Rico signing off and honoring 8158.